Here we go, man. Kicking it off. Fucking 66, episode number 66. This is the 66th episode podcast for Casting 495 Celebrities Worldwide. This podcast tonight, this evening, today, wherever you are in the world, wherever fucking time it is, wherever you are in the world, this particular podcast is about boasting in the rap game. That's what it's about. It's about boasting in the rap game. We're going to look at the history of boasts in the rap game, boastfulness, and how it's a key ingredient in the formula to making a name for oneself, getting a reputation, getting a rep, getting cred, street cred, getting fame, notoriety, fucking infamy, fucking becoming notorious, becoming fucking famous, becoming a celebrity, man, and a fucking and a king of your city, man. Now, Tekashi 6ix9ine, if you're not familiar with him, you ought to be at this point. He followed the business model, in my opinion, of 50 Cent, the artist Curtis Jackson 50 Cent, and quite frankly, just as Curtis Jackson 50 Cent followed the path of the real first OG 50 Cent, and that he just didn't take any shit from anyone, dude, and he rose to the top, man, and he was like, you know, what's up, motherfucker? Yeah, all the way to the top. The pinnacle, man, of the fucking, the whole pyramid, man, the top of the top of the top. Yeah, Tekashi 6ix9ine, same thing, and I called it from the beginning, man. I was like, yo, okay, they're from the same general vicinity, right? And he's following the 50 Cent pathway. He's on that, and people are like, oh man, you know, fuck Tekashi, man, you know, he's tripping, he better watch out, blah, say blah, and all this shit, right? I'm like, dude, that's what niggas was saying about 50 Cent. Saying the same thing. Like, if y'all can't see it, man, it's the same blueprint, more or less, right? Brilliant blueprint too, by the way. And it's worked out very well for Tekashi 6ix9ine and Treyway Entertainment. And now 50 Cent and Tekashi in their camps have been cooling out, man, chilling, you know, fucking bicking it together and such. And yeah, man, steady fucking rocking. And so 50 Cent called himself the king of New York, and Tekashi 6ix9ine called himself the king of New York. The other night, I was joking, called myself the king of New York, because, man, the thing is, dude, when you're in the rap game, you almost have to say some shit like that, man. You really do. Because, I mean, you don't. You could just be humble and be like, I'm just a humble prophet of rhyme, prophet of our time, prophet of lyrics. I'm a professor. Yeah, with my prophecies of raps, lyrics, and such like that. Yeah. Yeah, you could just be humble, dude, and you could do the, you could do that role. You could do that too, dude. The humble monk. But if you want to make money in the game, dude, I'm not giving you any kind of legal or business advice. By the way, man, I hope that you're having a pleasant fucking day, dude, as indicated. And, man, thanks for tuning in to the 66th episode, man. If it's your first time tuning into this podcast, or it's, you know, you've tuned in the past. But yeah, man, boasting in the rap game, if you want to make money, traditionally, dude, you just got to say some brazy shit, dude. Just some ultra crazy fucking boastful shit. Because it's a tradition, dude. It is a fucking historic tradition to boast on the microphone. Just like you're Muhammad Ali, man. And you're talking about, I'm the greatest of all time, nigga. Yeah. What the fuck, man? I'm number one, like Nelly and shit. Man, I'm the king of New York, like Tekashi 6ix9ine and 50 Cent and shit. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta say that shit, man. Motherfuckers just be getting, you know, hater motherfuckers who, you know, they've been trying to work on their raps and shit for so long and make $1 for the first time. You know, they're just like, oh, how dare he call himself the king of New York? And it's like, how dare you fucking not make more than $1 in the rap game, dude? Stop being a fucking little bitch-ass hater, dude. Okay? Cats are more creative with you than you in the fucking music rap business, dude, and they're doing shit to make money, and then you want to, like, be fucking like, oh, how dare he boast as he does. It's like, well, maybe you should boast a little bit more about your lyrical prowess, dude, even if you're not fresh. So, that's one of the keys, dude, to making money in the rap game is, a lot of niggas is, they don't really have the jewels or, because they're rented, they're through a rental program. And the gear, like the clothing and the shoes and everything and the cars and the women, they're all, rentals. And then after the video and the lights and the cameras go away, the cars, the women, the shoes, the jewelry, the backdrop, like the crib and all that shit, it goes back to the property owners because it was all just an illusion. That's part of the rap game. But niggas will tell you, dude, that they got kilos of cocaine to the ceiling and that they're selling dope like Tony Montana and that they're, they're members of different drug cartels and that they're flying fucking mega shipments of dope and guns and weapons and shit in and out of countries and that they're mafioso and they're fucking, whatever, man. Niggas forget, dude. It's a TV show, dude. It's fucking entertainment, man. And yeah, that's one of the keys to the rap game, hip hop game, is you gotta understand that. So then when you boast, like, what do you want to say? What do you want to talk about? Like, how are you gonna frame that? How are you gonna phrase it? How are you gonna put it together, man? What are you gonna boast about? You gonna boast about your posse? You gonna boast about your gang? Maybe you ain't got a gang, but you want to create one and just kind of make one up and just be like, yeah, just be like on gang, nigga. And they're like, they find out that you're like a college university graduate student, with an advanced degree, and that, you manage like, I don't know, a pharmaceutical company or something like that, or you're a consultant, or, you come from a background in finance and you just wanted to be a rapper. So, you're like, fuck this day job bullshit, dude. I'm gang on gang, nigga, and maybe you grew up in a neighborhood where, you got a ghetto pass and cats know you and, you're ethnically keyed in where cats are like, yeah, you a white dude, but you could say nigga around us because, it's cool like that. It's pretty common now, and maybe you could even say nigga, and because it'd be weird to rap and like in every like every other word you'd have to say instead of nigga, you'd have to be like, yeah, I'm in the rap game. I'm out for real fame. I'm really from the streets. N-words know my name. People would be like, N-words? Huh? Who's the N-words? Oh, niggas. He meant to say nigga, but he's a white dude and he can't say nigga, so he can only say N-word. And because he was referring to black African American rappers who call themselves niggas in the plural, he had to say N-words know my name. Oh, and then if you had to do that, like every time you would otherwise say nigga, you got to say N-word in your rap. That would be weird, dude. That'd be fresh though. I don't know if someone's done that yet. I'm sure someone on YouTube's done that. Shit, I might do that. That sounds like fun. That's funny. But yeah, so what are you going to boast about, man? You going to boast about your posse, your gang? Does anyone talk about posse anymore? I'm chilling with my posse. Some mix-a-lot. Yeah, posse's on Broadway. Posse up. Does anyone talk about having a posse? Do posses exist anymore? It's funny, man, because posses used to be the thing, man, like NWA and the Posse. There were so many posses, dude, when I was fucking growing up in the 80s, man, and 90s. Like, nigga, it was all about posses. And then it was all about gangs. But I haven't seen a group, man, for a long time, man. I'd say like at least, it's got to be at least a decade. Got to be at least 10 fucking 15 years, dude. Where someone's been like fucking like posse, like, like doesn't even say anything necessarily gang, and it's just like 987 posse, and you're just like, damn, what is this CD about? Who are these guys? Because that's what it used to be about, man. When you were in the rap game, when you would fucking pick up a cassette tape, right? Or an album, like the vinyl and a 12-inch or whatever, right? You'd see this picture of some mysterious group from you'd be like, oh, these are the 3, 4, 5 boys from Nebraska. Man, this the 3, 4, 5 posse. What? These niggas look hard. And they'd be like in a cornfield or something, like Children of the Corn. And they'd have like some braids in their hair and maybe holding an Uzi or something. And you'd just be like, damn, one nigga would have like a sawed-off shotgun and maybe like a bandana around his face or something. You'd be like 3, 4, 5 posse. Ooh, these niggas look hard. And you'd be anticipating when you like listen to their fucking when you listen to their cassette, you'd be like, this is gonna be some fucking just bumping shit. Cause bumping used to be a word back in the day. Be like, yo man, I was bumping this shit and I was bumping this one shit, man, and let's bump this track, man. Let's bump these cuts. And raps used to be they used to be referred to as cuts. How many cuts does it have on the album? Niggas used to talk like that. It'd be like, how many cuts? Instead of how many tracks, they'd say cuts. And this is before the world of mixtapes, man. This is before mixtapes was a big thing. And yeah, man, you'd find out about different posses and shit. And you know who I liked? I like these guys. Y'all might not know about them, but when the internet became a thing and you could go on MySpace, and that was before Facebook, when MySpace had artists where you could have like a band, what was it, like a band group or a band page or something on MySpace. That's when all these like rap groups from around the world started popping up. And then there was, around the same time, actually, mp3.com materialized, and then it was just like anybody and his or her grandmother could get up and do a rap or a jingle, rock, pop, lock, whatever, fucking bluegrass, folk music, samba, you name it, dude. Fucking line dance and shit. Every genre, dude. Every genre. Anybody who wanted to do anything in any genre, ska, punk, metal, you could fucking you could do an MP3. And that was the biggest shit in the world, man. So I found these dudes in the tape store in the rap section one year, and they were called Street Military. Dude, that shit was tight. I was like, because I was a kid, man. I was like 15 years old, right? And I was fucking selling fucking weed and shit. So basically selling dope. And fucking I had this money for the first time, and I was like, instead of going, saving up money for mowing the lawn to go and buy a tape like once every 6 months or some ridiculous shit, now I just go to the tape store and I'd buy like 10 cassette tapes at a time, dude. And I have hefty bags, dude, and fucking some storage facility filled with cassette. Man, I got cassette tapes that I'll probably sell on eBay, man, for fucking top dollar. Just old school shit that probably out of print. But these niggas Street Military, and I'd been seeing their tape, and I'd buy batches of tapes, and then I was like, you know what, man, I've been buying like 10 cassettes at a time now that I'm selling weed and I'm a weed dealer. One of these days I'm gonna get that Street Military cassette, man, because I'd have artists like lined up, and I'm like, okay, the next time I go, I'm gonna get this one, that one, this one, that one, this one, that one. Okay, so I finally got the Street Military shit. Dude, Street Military was a trip. You could still find their shit on YouTube, man. But they had this one trip, man. They had this one cut that was really fucking dope. I mean, they got dope shit. Listen, I'm not knocking Street Military. Like, I like Street Military. First of all, their name is the shit, dude. Street fucking Military. I mean, you're talking, dude, I'm a young and impressionable kid at the time, right? Just rhyme traveling and shit. Just remembering, like, man, we did this before type shit. You know what I'm saying, man? Checking out the universe. And I'm like fucking 14 years old or something like that. And I see, man, young drug fucking runner and shit, 14 and shit. I was with the fucking gang when I was like 12 years old. Before I was Bloods, I was with, I ran around with these stoner gangs and shit, man. And fucking... Dude, I see this name on this cassette, Street Military. And I was like, man, who the fuck are these guys? Like, that sounds ultra hard. Who calls themselves street military? Man, I bought the cassette, threw it in my backpack. I was a big backpacker, dude. Fucking carry guns and shit, loaded fucking guns, like man guns and shit. I'm like 12, man, shit, since even younger than that, man, like 8 years old, dude. I was, my grandfather had couple gun cabinets, man, from, coming back from World War II and then just being alive after the war, collecting guns. And then I had, friends who would sell guns and shit, and fucking I sold guns and fucking, so dude, I was, dude, ever since I was a kid, I always like had a backpack with a fucking fully loaded sidearm in it, dude, walking around town. And so I'm at the fucking mall and shit back in the day with my gun and my fucking backpack. And cause the nigga back then, man, the West Coast was just, man, that shit was the trip, bro. Like, you just have to have some heat on you. And so I throw these cassette tapes in, and I get home, and it's late night. And back then, when I was a child, man, when I was like 14, I fucking lived off and on with my grandmother, right? And I lived in the back room. It was my grandfather's room that he had, which was his personal study. And it had all of his like books, like land navigation, hunting, like, do it yourself, like Sears and Roebuck, Black and Decker, like how to build shit, like every kind of like outdoors, like mountaineering, like anything that a man would have, right? In terms of like a personal library. And then he had his like his globe with all of his different like crafts and tools and things like this. Well, he was deceased, man, when I was young. And so, as an adult, I essentially inherited his estate. So, my mother was in the military and she was off and gone. So I would stay with my grandmother, man. I was a kid, and shit, I was wilding out in the streets of the West Coast, man, selling fucking D and shit. And, anyway, I fucking threw the tape I took it out. I'm looking at it. I throw it in the boombox, put on my headphones and shit, because, I can't be bumping music up in Grandma G's house, man, at the time when she was still alive, man. She wasn't going. She'd come through with a stick and hit me in my fucking face with it and shit, man. And, we respected Grandma G, though, man. So, but anyway, man, I throw on the street military shit, man. They're like, street military? And I was just like, oh, my God. And they literally just have this track where it's like this beat's playing and it's like street military. And you're just like, dude, this shit is fucking the shit. Like the name they came up with. I mean, look, man, I don't know how famous they became in the world. It's interesting how you think niggas disappear in the world of music and entertainment. You're like, oh yeah, that one crew, they had that shit back in 83. But we ain't seen them for like since then, right? And you'd be like, they were a flash in the pan and they're gone. Then you find out like one of the dudes from the group, or two or more of them, or however it works out. You find out, man, that they've been in the game the whole time, and that they've been like ghost writing, and they've been fucking working on like movies with niggas and shit, and maybe even been in some movies. And you're like, oh, for real? I don't know what became of street military, man. I saw their videos. Were they from Texas? I can't remember. I thought it was somewhere in the South. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I got computers here. I could just look it up and shit. I might as well. But yeah, man, I fucking, looked them up a few years ago on YouTube, and I went back and I was peeping their old stuff, for nostalgia, man. And I was also seeing for the first time tracks of street military that I hadn't ever seen before. Street military albums. Here we go, man. Google is the shit. So, man, I guess they've been doing shit up to, looks like on their discography, 2009. They did some shit. So South, Texas Stones, looks like Volume 2. Let's see, how far back does it go? 1992, another hit. So that's probably 92 that's probably when I first started listening to Street Military. So their tracks off their album were, one was the intro, track 2 was Another Hit, track 3 was Kick Door Burglar, track 4 was Don't Fuck Over Me, track 5 Funky Funeral, 6 Dead in a Year, 7 Another Hit Radio, 8 Dead in a Year, 9 Kick Door Burglar. So they had Another Hit, Kick Door Burglar, Don't Fuck Over Me, Funky Funeral, Dead in a Year, and then it was Another Hit radio version, apparently, Dead in a Year radio version, and then Kick Door Burglar radio version. Yeah, exactly. So that's what cats were also doing back in the day, is you'd have a bunch of explicit music tracks, and then you'd have like one or more radio versions, because if you could get some shit on the radio, you can make even more money that way. And I can't remember right now at this point which one of these songs was the one where they just had that chorus and it was just like Street Military. This shit was tight, dude. Street Military. But you know, I would have to say, like, and I think this is fair to say, and I don't think they would think this is disrespectful if I say this, man, which is what I'm about to say. They were kind of they were kind of an obscure group. Not in a bad way. It's just, I mean, they were like underground, dog. And that was what I liked about underground. I mean, look, man, I'll give you an example. Oh yeah, this is dope. This album cover, Street Military Next Episode. Yo, Google that. Street Military album titled Next Episode. See how niggas is just in the streets and shit, and they got the 40s, and is niggas like shooting dice. What's this cat doing? Let me see this. Bring it, like, zoom in. I see one dude, he's all buffed up, he's all ripped and cut and shit, and then there's some nigga like with his ball cap and he's like crouched over on the ground. Is that nigga looking up at the sky? What the man? I ain't got a clear image on this one in Google. Damn, they got a bunch of albums though, man. See, when I first started listening to them, it was just like the first 1-2 album. Yeah, then I remember this one, Don't Give a Damn. This album was dope too. And what got me about this album, man, was if you Google Street Military Don't Give a Damn, these niggas got the burgundy, maroon, red. I mean, I don't want to presume to know what these cats are. I saw something about stones. These niggas might be, I don't know. And I ain't wikied it, man. You know, but, you know, I did see that and I don't know. But you know, coming from the U.S. West Coast, the U.S. West Coast, you know, with Bloods and Crips and whatnot, I didn't know what these niggas were. I just saw the red, burgundy, maroon, and I was just like, damn, these niggas is redded up, man. They cherried up. Now, whether they Stones, they Bloods, they not, they something else, I have no fucking clue. But when I was a kid, Joe, seeing this album cover, Don't Give a Damn, that was like some West Coast shit. You know, that looked like some West Coast shit. Whether they, you know, they're obviously Texas, right? Which is what I thought in the first place. But nonetheless, we were like, damn, niggas in Texas is rolling hard, just like we're doing out west and shit. And so, but yeah, man, that's history right there. And looking back on that and these albums that I'm seeing, all the Street Military albums, these were crews that emerged that, you know, they might not have been as big as NWA and the Posse. You know, shit, they might have something out overseas or something that I don't know about. They might have a huge fan base. I don't know. But what's interesting is how cats can go from obscurity and become the biggest shit, like the biggest shit. I actually saw that happen with Tech N9ne, the rapper Tech N9ne from Strange Music. Similar to Street Military, I used to buy his underground cassette tapes, and I used to listen to his stuff, man. And I was like, this dude is interesting, man. He really is. And then over time, I'd get the next tape that would come out, like however, long it had been since the first one. And I was like, yeah, man, this dude's still doing it. He's still at it, right? Cool. And then, man, he just exploded, man. Like, this dude was like, telling me, this cat, I know, his name is Seuss, and it's not spelled like Dr. Seuss. It's actually spelled differently, with the letters reversed. So it's, instead of the way Dr. Seuss spells it, it's like reversed. And where the E and the U are. So I know this cat named Seuss. He's a white dude. He's one of the most gifted rappers I know. And I used to go to house parties with him in the 509. And that cat, man, was fucking, he had crowds rocking, bro. And I introduced him to YC1, Young Chili and shit, some Crip niggas, and my homeboy Seuss, he was repping Bloods gang, nigga. And so we had Bloods and Crips banging on wax, basically. West Coast shit. When I say that, I'm not talking about the album Bloods and Crips banging on wax, but that expression derived from the albums that were Bloods and Crips banging on wax, volume this, volume that. We had the same thing going on, man, on the streets of the West Coast. Just niggas tying up flags, peace treaty shit, alliance. So we were doing these rocking these parties and stuff, right? And believe it or not, it was Seuss who reintroduced me to Tech Nine. He was like, "You ever heard of the rapper Tech Nine?" And I was like, yeah, I mean, the dude that was doing the cassette tapes back in the day. And he's like, "Bro, Tech Nine." And I was like, right, the dude that has like, devil lived, devil, or what, you know what I mean? Like, he's on that like whole like clown face, kind of like the Juggalos, like, like the painted face with the clown costume, like the devilish grin, like God, devil, God kind of thing, right? He's like, yeah, that dude. And I was like, oh yeah, well, what's up with him, man? Like, how's he doing? And he's like, Grove, the fuck you don't know about? And I was like, dude, listen, Seuss, I just told you. We confirmed it. Yes, I know about Tech Nine. What's the deal, bro? Like, I've been heard his cassettes that he put out. He's like, man, go on the internet, dog. And I was like, okay, man, shit, what are you talking about? He's like, Grove, you don't know that Tech Nine is the #1 independent musical rap artist on planet Earth and is like in the Guinness Book of World Records now for that? And I was like, bro, like, he's dope. Like, I like Tech Nine. Like, he's on some alternative underground rap shit that's different. Kind of like Esham, kind of like these artists. But, like, what you mean, man? I ain't heard about Tech Nine putting out an album or doing anything for, like, a fucking spell, bro. Like, it's been a blue moon. He's like, nah, nigga, you tripping. Tech Nine is the rapper now. I had no idea because the internet had exploded, man. And everybody was rapping at this point, pretty much. And fucking Tech Nine, who had been where I was, or in my view, in my worldview, he'd been an underground, creative, imaginative, dope, different, unique, novel rapper, right? Very different from that of other rappers. I hadn't heard that he was doing anything for a long time. Like, I didn't know he was still, because some rappers, they just, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, and I have no idea. Like, I mean, I could look it up. Like, I just looked up, Street Military, but for sake of brevity, Coolio? Did he put out an album in 2018, 17, 2016, 15, or 14? Maybe he did. Maybe Coolio is still on tour. Shit, maybe he's on fucking, maybe he's on stage somewhere right now, man, with Tone Loc. Like, Tone Loc in Coolio? Are they still rapping? I don't know, man. I'm only saying that in similar to Tech Nine, my impression at the time was they had been rapping and then they just like went on to do movies or something, and they were like no longer so much in the musical arena. Okay? So my point in sharing all of this data with you is that you can have the most obscure of urban musical rap artists and think, oh, well, they put out those albums, they had fun, they had a good time, it was entertaining, and I don't know, they're married with kids, married with children, and moved on to other ventures, right? And you have no idea that they're the number one rappers like in the world right now. Like, cause they're doing mega shit like on tour. Like, I know big concert tour promoters. I know some of the most legendary people in the industry. I've met them personally. I know people that own tour companies. They own the tour buses. They own the logistics arm and aspect of the company. They own the company, and they've been on tour with the top names, bro, like Guns N' Roses, like fucking Metallica, like top names. Like I met this white dude on the East Coast out here, and he's traveled millions of miles, literally millions of miles for like the past fucking 40 years with bands, and he's played with bands. He's managed the bands. He's been at fucking major record companies, man, in A&R. And he owns a tour company, and he's a fucking multimillionaire. I met that dude. I met that dude, and I'm privileged to have met him and to have made his acquaintance. I know people like that, man. And but if you saw him in the grocery store and you didn't know who he was, you just fucking think he's just some dude. Like you'd be like, you wouldn't even like, oh, I don't know, maybe that guy's a retired school teacher or something. Like you have no idea that he lives in a mansion, bro, and that he knows all the top people in the game, man, like in the business. And he's still on the sly be doing some shit. But, you know, he's doing other ventures and shit now, man. Just chilling. And he told me he doesn't tour anymore. He owns the company, but he doesn't go on tour with the bands and shit as much. But, yeah. So, what I know about the industry is you might think a band is defunct. You might, and I knew this before I ever even met him and other dudes like him. You can think in your mind that, oh, that band from the 80s or that rap group, yeah, man, nobody's heard from those dudes for fucking ages, like decades. Like those dudes were done a long time ago. 5 minutes of fame, fucking flash in the pan, right? No, you're wrong, dude. They're on tour right now. And they're actually bigger than ever because they're on internet, and the internet didn't exist back in the day. And they have social media, and they've got Instagram, and they've got this, and they've got that. And the thing is, man, you just didn't know about them because they've been in fucking Europe and Asia on tour for like 5 years. Do you know how big Europe and Asia are? Do you realize that the United States, the U.S. population represents something like only like 5% of the total global world population? If you take everybody in the United States, it's a fraction of what's in the rest of the world. So you have cats who have literally been on fucking tour for 25 years, on a quarter of a century, on a quest, bro. Like a great fucking, like an epic saga quest adventure. Like some old world shit where niggas has just been sailing the 7 fucking high seas, bro. And they've just been out of the United States for a quarter century, rocking stadiums and coliseums, and you thought they were defunct? Nah, man, they're just in Europe and Asia that are fucking tremendously larger than the United States, and they're super fucking famous overseas, and you wouldn't know it, and you don't know it. That's what's awesome about the world, man, is there's so much data. It's just unfucking knowable to know it all, you know? I mean, that's, you know, you can't know it all, man. And that's what's amazing about the universe, man, is that it's 95% undecoded. 95% of what you know the universe to be, you haven't decoded it. You only know 5% of what's here. You only know 5% approximately of what is here total. Yeah. So, dude, you know a tick of a speck of a dot of a pixel in the fucking matrix of it all, bro. And that's a deeper truth reality, man. And so, yeah. So, man, you want to get into the rap game? You want to rap, man? You know, you want to get a name out there in this endless sea of data? Man, you might have to boast, bro. You might have to rap and just, you know, what name you gonna come up with and shit in the rap game? You know? And that's another thing. Niggas be changing their names and shit. Like, nigga was this, now he's that. You know? Like, okay, so check this out. Dr. Octagon. Who's Dr. Octagon? You ever heard of Dr. Octagon? I'm gonna give you a hint. If I'm not mistaken, I mentioned his name in a previous episode of this podcast, casting 495 celebrities worldwide. But I didn't mention the name Dr. Octagon, but I did mention his other name, one of his many other names. You see, rappers have other names too. So that's the thing. Like, you might see some data and you might be like, oh, okay, I see these, like, meaningless rappers and these people that are just, they just seem to be, nobodies because they're just in the mix with all this, like, nebulous data. It just goes on forever, and these people are some, like, minor, like, not even like minor under, like minor. They're less than minor. Like, these dudes are fucking nobodies, right? And you see some name that you don't recognize or that is unrecognizable to you, and so in your opinion at that moment, you're just like, I've never heard of these people. Like, this isn't Eminem. This isn't Dr. Dre. This isn't P. Diddy. Oh, by the way, is it P. Diddy anymore? Mandela Effect. What is it now? Puffy, Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. Is something new, right? Or he's thinking about it, or it's already changed. Like, Mandela Effect. I don't know, dude. But, yeah. So you'll see somebody's name and you'll think, well, it's not P. Diddy. It's not Jay-Z. It's not Kanye. I don't know this name. So this person's a fucking zero in the world of hip-hop rap. Well, you don't realize that one of those names that you saw on that Wikipedia list of, like, seemingly minor, under minor rappers is actually a big name. And that's an alternative name. That's an alternative moniker that a big name rapper uses. And you just didn't know that. And that person's doing big shit, man, big things. And, yeah. So sometimes you got to boast in the rap game, man, to make money. If you don't want to be with the milieu of rappers that are not making so much dough, they ain't getting big dollars. They just getting a few pennies here and there, some fractions of some pennies and shit. Sometimes, man, if you want to get up into the bigger leagues, the higher dimensions, man, to the higher levels, you just gotta be like, man, I'm the king of New York, man. You just gotta say some shit. I'm the king of LA, or I'm the king of, I don't know, the South Coast, brother, ATL, Texas, whatever. Or the queen of, I'm the queen of England. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not giving you legal or business advice, so I'm not telling you to do that. But I'm saying sometimes that's what people do, man, to gain ground in the rap game. And you notice, man, how I've been putting in work on this podcast. I got the podcast out. I've got over 10 albums worth of material out in terms of music. I've got music on 10,000 different websites. I have videos on television in different countries. I have material that is available in 140 different countries. That's called merchandising, man. I've got an audio book. I've got an ebook. I was in a book before I wrote my own book. And it was by a famous person who wrote about other famous people. So I've done that. So you see how I've been branding? I've got the podcast. I've got the books. I've got the albums, books, podcasts, social media. You see, man, you see how we be putting in work? And I work with the network, with an organization, 495. You've got Sen the Soul Stealer. He's got his albums. He's got his rap group, Level 4. He also raps with 495 because Level 4 is a branch of Level 4. You've got Big Scheme. You've got Mr. Brock Lee Landers, aka Broke Lie. He ain't broke and he ain't lying. You got Spank motherfucking T. So many cats, man. You got Todd Carlo from Criminal Alliance. There's Loot Money. So many cats, man. So many posses, so many gangs, so many networks, so many organizations. You want to make some money in the rap game, You gotta come up with a business model with the blueprint, with the schematics, with the architecture behind it all, and then you have to put it into effect. You have to implement it, and in the step-by-step process, fucking do it yourself, and just make it happen, man. And then, depending on where you want to be in the rap game, are you just doing it on a hobby level, on a hobbyist level, or are you trying to, do it just in the city, just in your state? You're trying to do it in multiple states. You're trying to go overseas with it. That's what Tekashi 6ix9ine did. And I keep talking about the Treyway Entertainment business model because it's fabulous, man, and they're relevant right now, and they're number one right now, man. They got 10 Billboard hits out right now, man. They're 10 for 10, and they did this all in like 12 months in a year. Now contrast that with niggas that been talking about doing shit for 12 years and they ain't done nothing, zip, zilch, zero, or little to nothing. All right. And they be talking like, trying to boast like, yeah, nigga, our hood, and yeah, we so hard and we sell so many guns and drugs, and yeah, blah, 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 blah. Tekashi 6ix9ine, what's up with this guy with the rainbow shit? Fuck him. Yeah, well, it's obvious that the reason that you dislike him, dude, is because he's smarter than you, dude. And at least in the business savviness of it all, because the kid's got business savvy, dude, and he's a brilliant marketing genius, dude. And that's pretty much admitted by the web now. I mean, there are still some holder-outers, dude. There are still some detractors and some people that are like, fuck him. He's always like showboating and blah, blah. Right, exactly. Just like he hated 50 Cent when 50 Cent first got up in the game. Go back and look at, man, I've talked about this before. Niggas was hating on 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson back in the day in the same way that they're hating on the Mexican-American rap star. Yeah, dude, Latino, okay? Hispanic, okay? That's another thing is that niggas don't want, niggas just meant, like when Eminem came out. Oh, who the fuck is this white boy? Who's this Caucasian white motherfucker? Who does he think he's chumming up with Dr. Dre? Does Dr. Dre realize that he's making a mistake? That's fucking dumb. Eminem's whack. Fuck him and fuck Dr. Dre too for even being in association with some fucking stupid white kid from Detroit. That's how hateful motherfuckers are, man. Niggas was saying that shit, bro, on YouTube, and that shit's true. They were saying shit like that about Eminem. And them same niggas, man, to this day, there's probably a handful of niggas on this planet that would still say that shit just because they're racist and they're fucking snobs and they think they're about some shit. And the thing, man, the irony is they're snobby about some shit they ain't even about. Like, they ain't even fresh. They ain't got dough. They ain't fresh. They ain't never been. And they're just jealous and envious, man. They're jealous, envious, motherfucking dick-sucking, punk-made, bitch-made haters. Jakes, nigga, busters. And, there are probably very few people, man, on the planet talking shit about Eminem. Because a lot of people at some point, they changed their mind about him, right? And they were just like, yo, man, I give it to him, man. This dude's got skills. Because they were honest with themselves, man. Same thing with 50 Cent. They're like, yo, shit, I give it to him, dude. He's number one on Billboard now. Wow. Fuck. Man. Nigga, I was being hateful. Like, I mean, I always liked 50 Cent. And I always like Eminem. Because I'm an open-minded dude. I always like Tekashi 6ix9ine, man. And I've never been on the fence about any of them. Like, I'm not on the fence about, because I don't be hating, man. I don't be like, fuck this nigga, fuck. I give people, like, in the musical rap sense of it all, I'm an open-minded dude and I give people a chance because I know the game in and out, and I know the industry in and out, and I know how it all works. And I understand, man, it's a hustle, it's a grind, and niggas be putting in work, and just because they look one way at that moment, they ain't always going to be in that same mode. They ain't always going to look that same way, have that same style, have that same sound necessarily, that same image, that same persona. They're going to have an alias and aliases if they keep going with it. They're going to, the dress and the performance wardrobe, the whole look, the makeup, the artwork, the shit's going to change and morph and transform over time, man. It invariably so. And you never know how it's going to turn out in terms of progress, successes, and you could say some shit like, fuck this nigga, he's bitch, look, he doing this whack underground shit. This nigga obscure, no one play his shit. Look, he got 2-3 plays on the internet. Next thing you know, dude, you're a dick-sucking punk, hateful, fucking spiteful piece of garbage, closed-minded bitch-ass nigga. And that dude that you were talking shit about, he's number one in the world.